I love y'all so much.
I'm just crying a little bit that I forgot to press record before you said all of that. But you just gave my entire speech that I need to give tonight, like in 5 minutes. It couldn't have been more perfectly laid out. And I want to say, like, for any of you who haven't seen the post that Chandra's talking about, just go to her Facebook. She just made, over the years, we've called that the magic post, where it's like, I'm looking for 6 people to try my detox combo, blah, blah, blah. And the reason a post like that works for some people and doesn't work for others, and whatever, like it may work for you this month and it may not work for you the next month. It's just kind of the way that it goes. But the reason that a post like that works when it works is not because it's gimmicky, it's not because it's magic, but it's because Chandra has laid the foundation. She has planted the seeds since April. I can testify to the amount of messages that this woman has sent, the consistency that she has been in since April. It's every day. It's every single day. She's sitting down with her IPA sheet. She's sending her 5 messages. She's sending her birthday messages. She's connecting with people, and then when you have something like this that catches people's attention, they're already 90% of the way there because of the conversations, because of the posts, because of the value that you've already added. You've got to get people 90. We've heard this before. Sometimes it can take 7 to 10 touches before somebody is ready to buy. And for whatever reason, that wording is hitting your market right now. And so it's just such a testament of consistency and really, Chandra, of the all in mentality, the all in mentality. And that's really what I want to challenge all of us with as we're wrapping up the end of this month is to go all in, to go all in on working this as a serious opportunity. And I know for Chandra, 2 months ago, when we were on another coaching call, and she's like, Chelsea, what I'm doing is not working. We need to pivot. And I'm like, okay, maybe we need to pivot this, but I think you need to stay the course here. You're maybe not seeing the fruit here, but you need to stay in your messages. You need to stay in your birthday messages. You need to stay with your content because it's good. What does it look like for you to go all in? And y'all can process this out in the comments. Like, use the comments, process this out as we're talking tonight. What does it look like for Amy to go all in? What does it look like for Jessica to go all in? Natalie, what does it look like for you 5 days into this thing, going all in on this as an opportunity? Brandy and I chatted. I don't know if Brandy's on here tonight. Is she on here yet? No, she's in Nashville tonight. She told me she probably wouldn't be. But she called me this afternoon when we were sitting in carpool. We do carpool chats on Monday afternoon. And she asked me such a great reflection question this afternoon. And she said to me, Chelsea, if I were to do one thing differently in my business that would shift my entire business, what would it be? What would be that one thing? Because Brandy and I chat often. I kind of know the inner workings, what she's doing in her business on a daily basis. Um, and we kind of talked through it, and I turned the question around on her and I said, I don't know, Brandy, what is it? What is the thing? And of course, she already knew the answer, which most of us already know the answer. And she said, well, I want other people under me doing the same thing that I'm doing. I want 5 Brandies. Like, I want 5 people to go gold under me in the next 6 months. So she knows what she needs. She knows that she needs more people. I said, okay, so let's work that backwards. What does that look like? How do you do that? How do you attract? How do you go get 5 more Brandies, 5 more people to go gold? You got to talk about the opportunity. You got to have more conversations with people. What does that look like? What does that look like? And we talked through that. That's the one shift she needs to make in her business in order to grow more leaders. She's got to go get them. She's got to have more conversations. She says, well, my kids are pretty much self-sufficient from this time to this time on a Tuesday. What if I scheduled a coffee date every Tuesday for somebody about the business? I said, that's an excellent idea. What if you did that? What if that was one shift that you made? What if you had 4 coffee dates a month about the business? What if you had a phone call on the way home from that coffee date with somebody about the opportunity? What if you did a reach out on the way to that coffee date about the opportunity? There's 3 touch points right there about the business. You've got to get in more conversations. And y'all, for most of us, maybe that's not exactly your pivot point, but for most of us, it just means that we have to stop overthinking this thing. Okay? Because most of us, that's what we need. We need more level 1 leaders in our organization doing what we're doing. If you had 5 people on your team, 7 people on your team who are producing the same level of activity that you are, you would grow. You would grow, but you've got to stop overthinking, speaking to those people, and going and getting those people. It's about being unapologetic about your goals. Do any of y'all follow Alex Hormozy on Instagram? Y'all drop in the chat if you follow him. He's a great follow if you don't already. Somebody put his handle in there if you have it handy. He said, he had a quote today that he dropped. He said, "You can beat almost anybody at anything if you're willing to fail 20 times in a row and look stupid in front of people you care about." I'm going to say that again. You can beat almost anyone at anything if you're willing to fail 20 times in a row and look stupid in front of people that you care about and keep going after it stops being convenient. How cringe are you willing to look for a while before I put in enough reps, before I become good at this thing? Before you earn people's respect for not giving up, before they take you seriously. Oh, she's actually doing this thing. Chandra started talking in her stories in April. She's still talking in her stories. What's she talking about? She's still showing up. She's still healing herself after this cancer journey. She's actually going to conferences. She's actually sharing podcasts and leveling up and building community and getting healthier and elevating her social media. And here she is a year later, and she looks and she speaks and she leads better than she did a year ago. And you continue that process until you start to become the person that you're trying to attract. And that all starts, y'all, with just owning the space that you're in. And Chandra, you said this so well. It's really about stepping into your own personal power. And somebody here needs to hear that tonight, okay? Every single woman here has a different personality, has different strengths, has different gifts. Some of you are quiet. Some of you are hilarious. Some of you are loud. Some of you are sciencey and you know all the things about our products. Some of you just know how to love on people and make them feel at ease in a room or on social media or in a chat thread. The trick is showing up in your own unique power as your best self and showing up like you belong in the room. Because until you believe that you belong in the room, nobody else is going to believe it either. Some of y'all heard me say this before, but the diamond version of yourself already exists. She already exists. You just have to be willing to unlock her and get out of your own way and step into that version of her. Ed Mylett has a really great bit that he does. He's done this in several of his podcasts. I think he said this in his speech at convention, but maybe I'm wrong. He says that he has this vision of himself at the end of his life where he goes to heaven and God introduces himself to the man that he could have been, like the most leveled up, like growth minded, healthiest version of Ed Mylett. And he gets to meet him at the end of his life. And he says that it's his life's mission to recognize him when he gets to heaven. And he says his most terrifying thought is to not recognize him or to not recognize her. And that means that we didn't grow, we didn't pursue the right things, we didn't put ourselves in a position to hang on long enough to get to where the Lord was trying us to get. And so that's what I just want to encourage y'all with as we're ending this month strong, as we all have follow-ups that we need to do, as we're starting a new month here in a couple of days, is just, are you all in? Are you willing to do the hard things? Are you willing to be consistent? Are you willing to be a little bit cringe? Are you willing to be a little bit misunderstood in order to become the version of you that exists in 6 months that's going to attract that next runner, that's going to attract the next Brandy, the next Rachel, the next Jamie, the next Kristen? You've got to stick with it. I'll leave y'all with this. And then Libby, if you have anything to share, I'll let you unmute and share. A friend of mine and I were chatting back and forth today, and she said a quote, and I wrote this on my bulletin board today, and we were just kind of going back and forth today between just some different difficulties that we're experiencing in our own business and our own mindset and kind of fighting through those. And she said, "You know what, Chelsea? We live on planet Earth. It's going to be hard." And that's something about the way that she said that hit me like a ton of bricks. It doesn't matter what it is that you're doing. I think somewhere in our subconscious, we're looking for an easy way out. Like we're looking for the easy button. We're looking for the 6-figure income without the grit, without the work, without the mindset. No matter what we do here on earth, nothing is given. We have to be willing to work for it. And I can tell you right now, I've had a lot of different jobs in my life. I've worked a 9 to 5. I've worked a physically exhausting job of teaching elementary school 40 hours a week, more than that, because if you're a teacher, you know it's more than 40 hours a week. Nothing compares to what we get to do with Plexus. It takes a different kind of mental energy. It takes a different kind of putting yourself out there. But I can tell you, in the 12 years that I was a teacher, I never had the kind of mental and emotional and even spiritual growth that I have had doing Plexus and having to get over myself and having to push through fears and having to grow into the next version of myself. This has made me a better person. It will make you a better person in your life, in your impact on your team, if you are willing to stick with it. We live on planet Earth. Whatever you choose to do is going to be hard. Make sure that the hard you choose is worth choosing. So that's what I have to share. Libby, do you want to unmute and say anything before we wrap up tonight? She's got her book out. She probably got her Bible out.
Well, you know what? It's not my Bible, but it's pretty dang close. It's The Art of Winning by Bill Belichick. I don't know if y'all are sports. Sports apparently run my life. Now, it's always been college sports, but now apparently it's the NFL. This book is so good. Like, it's so good. If you have, I know, sorry, Amy. I'm not a big fan either. I'm a Detroit Lions fan, but this book is very good. And it's just like some of the things that he says in here, I have literally written in this up and down. And I'm trying to find one that I'm really, really looking for. Okay. This kind of goes to the planting the seeds. Okay. So he's talking about, Patriots are being behind by 18 points. And I told the group we could only score 7 points at a time. If we focus on each individual play, we could string them together for success. It was just the truth. We could not score 18 points in one possession, no matter how good the speech I might try to give. As a leader, it's not always about what you need to say, it's about what your team needs to hear. And so I just think like you can't just get 50 responses at a time. All you can do is just focus on like one foot in front of the other. Like really and truly, it's just keeping moving forward. And I think like something for me, like especially being at corporate this last week was insane. And I took a picture there and I'm going to try really hard not to cry because Mother Nature's on her way and I cried looking at Harvey today. But there's a picture that I took and it's there at headquarters. It's in the front office and I have dreamed about taking that picture all the way back from 2017 when I first joined. That was 8 years ago. I was 20. And 20-year-old me didn't think that I deserved to be in the room. So 20-year-old me didn't get in the room. And 21-year-old me and 22 and 23. It wasn't until 28-year-old me was like, no, I'm putting myself in the room. Like I'm putting myself in the room. Put yourself in the room mentally and you will get there physically. And I feel like I'm not anything special other than the fact that I'm crazy delusional. Like I truly live in the land of delusion and I don't think that there's anything that the Lord can't bless me with if I'm not willing to back the action up with it. And I think that that's the biggest part for me is like you can be I remember when I was younger, and I feel like Steph and Chelsea both got to see this, was I was crazy delusional. I had all these really big dreams, and I was always a really big dreamer, but I never had the action to back it up. And it's not until you get into the action that you are going to see those seeds that have been planted. And so just be crazy delusional, but also have a crazy work ethic. Like do the things. Like um Brittany Howard and I were talking the other day, and I was talking about like this is my emerald year, and she's like, I just want you to like time out and realize that like a six-figure income is nothing to sneeze at. Like this is hard. Like this is hard, and I think sometimes like we can look around at like other jewels, and they're like, wow, they're making six figures. It's like, yeah, but were you there sitting with them on the couch at 11:59 at the end of the month when their hair's up in a bun, they've got a crazy headache and they're still sending messages? Like you're only seeing the highlight reel. Like this is hard. So if it feels hard, good, it's supposed to be hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it and everybody would walk across the stage as a jewel. But it's who you become on the way there that is the most beautiful part of this. And so just keep pushing forward because I can tell you right now, there are some days when I text Chelsea and I'm like, these are emerald tears. Like my head hurts. Like these are emerald tears. I'm having a hard time, but like I know that those are the steps to get me to where I want to go. So I'm going to push through anyway. And so just picture yourself in the room. I don't know if it's on stage. Um, whatever it is, just like tap into that. I know also something that, sorry, now I'm ranting, but this is truly the last thing. Debbie Neal, if y'all don't listen to Debbie Neal podcast, I don't know if y'all usually listen to just the episodes or if you listen to the affirmations that she comes out with on Wednesdays as well. So I've recently changed up my morning routine. So I do my devotional, I write down things that I'm grateful for, and then I actually play a Debbie Neal affirmation every morning, and I sit in my chair and I say it out loud. Y'all, I've been doing it for a week, and I'm like, well, if I need a little more delusion, a little more confidence, I didn't know, but I got it now. Like, truly, there's nothing that I can't do when Debbie Neal is telling me that I can do all these things. So I highly recommend, like, on your drive, like, y'all, they're 3 minutes. And yeah, you are going to feel silly the first time you say, I am an powerful leader and I attract business builders out loud. Yeah, the dogs probably look at me like I'm nuts, and Oliver's going to look at me like I'm nuts when he comes home. But we're going to have a six-figure income paycheck, so you can just keep your mouth shut and it's all fine. So, okay, I'm done. I know I talk really fast. I'm really sorry.
No, that was so good. We hiked Kennesaw Mountain with the family the other day, and there was a woman. We had already come to the top, and we were hiking down. There was a woman coming up. She had her earphones in, and she was saying her affirmations out loud, walking to the top of this mountain. And I just stopped and clapped for her on the way up. Just loud and proud and owning it. I want to end. So, Erica, you said something in the chat. She said, I know I'm a natural leader. I just can't get them to follow. I'm still pushing daily. That's it. That's what it is. It's looking deep inside of yourself, seeing that gifting. What is it that you have? What is your X factor? What is your superpower? For Chandra, I think one of her superpowers is her personality. I want to be in the room with her when she's mixing up her pink drink every day. Her light is contagious, and everybody who watches her feels that. Okay. Chandra is not, she doesn't have a Christina Williams personality, but that doesn't mean she can't have Christina Williams' bank account. She just needs to access a different, she needs to access her power in a different way. Erica, I would say the same thing to you. I would agree with you. You have a natural leadership ability. You've got to be willing to hang with yourself long enough for other people to see it. It's that same concept of, dang, she's still showing up. It's been 2 months. She's still in her stories. She's still talking about this pink drink. She's still going to conferences. She's still talking about leadership. She's elevating her social media. And before you know it, they're going to be asking you how you did it. I cannot tell y'all. I wish I could quantify the number of cringe posts I made the first couple of years that I was doing this. When I switched over to Instagram, not having had an Instagram account, growing everything on Facebook, I wish I could tell you the literal, if you can sweat blood, like we were there, like the cringe and the difficulty I felt like it took to muster the ability to continue doing those things when it felt so hard, when I felt so cringe, when people unfriended me, when people in my Bible study made fun of me, when people in my inner circle never asked me about Plexus. And now here they are 9 years later, congratulating me on all my posts, asking me how I did it, congratulating me on my big following. It was being consistent every day when it was hard. And like Libby said, that's why most people quit, because it is hard. Because it is hard. But I encourage y'all to find the thing that is worth the hard and do it anyway. And do it anyway. So, um, I just want to challenge y'all to channel this. Like every single one of you has it in you, but it's up to you if you're going to do it. It's up to you if you're going to do it. So let's end this month strong. Y'all, we still have 24 hours left. I know a lot of us are pushing for Gold Getaway. We've got some people pushing for ranks. We've got double BBBs. We've got double Cancun credits ending tomorrow. Let's leave everything out on the field. Let's end our month strong and set ourselves up for a strong start to October. All right, y'all. We'll see you in the chats. Love you guys. Thanks for being on tonight.